Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm going to share a few benefits inshallah ta'ala today that concern the Shafi'i madhab. One of them that's very important that a lot of people actually are not aware of, or they have not come across it before, therefore they weren't exposed to the information and did not understand it, or they simply are not aware of the terminology used. If we go back to the last generations of the grand scholars of Al-Azhar, we'll find in their biographies that they speak about something called Taqaseem. So they'll say, I attended with the great scholar Fulan, his Taqaseem of Al-Manhaj. And you stand there scratching your head for a moment. What is Taqaseem Al-Manhaj? Taqaseem Sharh Al-Manhaj. What is that? Or Taqaseem Al-Minhaj, or Taqaseem Hashiyat Fulan ala Sharh Al-Manhaj. Well, where do they get this from? What does this mean? The concept of Taqaseem, it just simply means how they used to split up the books. So each qism was a dars. If we go to a lot of these manuscripts from around that time period, you'll see and notice that in the different areas of the text, there are actually, you'll find the word dars. In very few of them you'll see waqf as well, but it says dars. Now, for the most part, they're identical, meaning where people would start and pause throughout the works, whether it was Al-Minhaj or Al-Manhaj or Sharh Al-Manhaj. So they had these known, almost agreed upon, and I can't say that they all agreed to this 100% on where to begin and where to pause throughout the book, but they were very close. And there's a large sum of them that did in fact have the same areas that they stopped at. And you can compare this with 50 different manuscripts of Sharh al-Manhaj, for example. They all have the same exact different pause locations, even though that the the owner of that manuscript was considered part of this scholar's group or that scholar's group. So even though these are different scholars, these are different teachers, they're actually pausing at the same exact area. So was there an agreement upon the areas? For the most part, sure, we can say that. Was it between everyone? Was there no exception? No, there was plenty of exceptions. There was plenty of exceptions. Because it really just goes back to the teacher and how the teacher wants to give the class, where he's going to begin, where he's going to end. But nevertheless, whether we're going to point out to the agreement or just to that concept of having areas where the dars is going to be, so you go to this sheikh or that sheikh or that sheikh, and he's going to start here, he's going to end here, your focus that day was this section. That's amazing. And sadly, to see the concept die away, where many who are in those chains and lineages, they don't know about the Taqaseem anymore. And I know this because when I first got exposed to a Taqaseem that are in our Shafi'i fiqh books, well, I ran to the people that are from those schools that have those books. Again, it took me a while to figure out what it was referring to. It took them a moment to figure out what it was referring to. I'm not saying I discovered anything. I'm no one. I don't discover anything. It's really what they discovered in their books that I'm sharing with you. That's basically what's happening here. And the tradition died out. Now, if we still had that tradition, that sanad would be beautiful, just magnificent. But we're not that far off from it, okay? We can still catch back on and revive it. If you go to the manuscripts of Sharh al-Manhaj, you'll find all of the waqafat or the Taqaseem present. Latch on to that. This is an amazing thing. You should document it within your copies. Revive the sanad. Revive this tradition. And in your country, in your town, in your city, bring back that. And you can start it with something simple. It doesn't have to be a sharh. You don't have to be a scholar who has reached that level. But if you're a student of knowledge, you can start with something simple, such as qira'at sard, just simply reading over the text at set dates, but those segments, so we can revive that tradition once again. And imagine if you could be part of reviving that tradition, especially in this day and age where people want to toss Shaykh al-Islam Zakaria al-Ansari and all of his efforts out the window because they feel that him and Nawawi have received too much attention, more than they deserve. What a world we live in today, right? So go back to that. If you've studied Sharh al-Manhaj, even better. Find those waqafat, get it into your copy. If you have an issue, I do have a spare Word copy. I'm working on a new editing to Sharh al-Manhaj, and that's almost done, inshallah ta'ala. I'll announce about that at a later time. But for right now, what's more important is that you want to get those pauses that the ulama ashab al-hawashi had in their copies. So what I recommend is try to get some of those manuscripts. If you cannot, I might have a spare Word document of Sharh al-Manhaj. That's just none of my work. It's just the book Sharh al-Manhaj with the Taqaseem added in. I simply just added brackets and dars, the same symbol that was there. I do not mind sharing it, so that way everyone can get it into their copy, so we can revive this Shafi'i tradition once again. نسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى التوفيق والسداد.